I'm Steve Vibronics, and this is the Life in Dub podcast, talking to people who live their lives in dub and reggae. Episode number 9. Welcome to the 9th Life in Dub podcast, a series that features in-depth interviews with people who've lived their lives in dub and reggae. As with every time, thanks for all the support from all you listeners out there, and thanks for all the messages. Keep sending them in because I will respond to each one in time. And you can email me at vibronics@gmail.com or get me on Facebook, Instagram and all the usual places, and you can visit the podcast website, lifeindub.com. So how are you all doing out there in lockdown? It's been a few weeks here in the UK, and with each day, it seems to be at the same time more normal and more strange in equal measures. I think it's fair to say it's going to be a while before any kind of large gathering will be on the cards. Last week, me and Vanya O recorded a short live dub mix show in our garden here in Leicester. You can still see it on the Vibronics Facebook page if you want to check it out. We just wanted to show everyone that we're still here and all in the same boat on lockdown. I have to say thanks to everybody that watched it and sent such encouraging messages to us. It was great to hear from you all, from near and far, and if lockdown continues, I think you can expect a part 2 at some point. And that's the crazy thing about this whole virus situation. Music, and especially our roots reggae sound system music, is made for mass gatherings, for people to share in venues and festivals. And right now, that's been taken away from us. We can all listen to music like we do every day, at home, in the car, on headphones, whatever way we choose. But a sound system is a physical thing, it's an experience. It's more than just the music. A sound system makes you feel the music, and playing the sound system is a vibes thing. There's no rehearsal, it's a spontaneous one-away experience that you can't get remotely or over the internet. And I'm counting the days until we can gather around a sound system again. But like others, I'm trying to do what I can to share my music and uplift people in these difficult times. This week, my guest is Danny Red, one of the key voices in modern roots reggae, and as you'll hear, I'm a long-time fan. We recorded this interview before the coronavirus crisis, with Danny in Kingston, Jamaica, and me in the Dub Cupboard studio in Leicester. For me, it was great to make the first UK to Jamaica hookup for the Life in Dub podcast, and a real honour to be welcoming Danny Red to the show. Danny is for sure a true original thinker and a great orator, and we touched on topics as diverse as noise abatement politics in Jamaica, Danny's discovery of Rastafari, and even Elvis Presley. So enough of me, let's get on with the interview. Well, Danny Red, welcome to the Life in Dub podcast.
Blessed love, man. Greetings. Give thanks.
My first podcast link up all the way to Jamaica, so something I'm very excited about.
Yes, over here in Jamaica, all our vibes, and you don't know, sending it out to the world, so give thanks.
Well, like I've been saying on all the podcasts, I can hear a dog barking in the background. That's what I like to hear. I'm just trying to picture how it is over there, you see. So it's nice to hear these things. But what I'm doing with the podcast, when I started, the first thing I'm doing is asking all of my guests if they can name a track that really kind of changed things for them. They think about, I heard that track and that really kind of affected me or kind of made me think differently. So I don't know if you've got an example of something like that you want to share with us.
Tracks that, there's so many, but I do remember a track that really had a really great impact on me because I thought the rhythm was like the best rhythm ever made, and that would have been Lopez Walker's New Garden.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, when I heard that, I was more of a DJ fan. I used to love Michigan and Smiley, especially the Studio One releases, and it wasn't until I heard that Lopez Walker, that type of rockers style, it was like, this is the best. And I thought I knew the best by listening to my favorite DJs and stuff. Even though Lopez Walker is not a DJ, the rhythm itself, that just blew me away. I could never get tired of that rhythm. And then there was another version, Send Another Moses, and also a DJ cut by Jabberry, Daily News. Those three, to me, just, I want to do rhythms like this. I want to be on rhythms like this.
Someone like Lopez Walker's just a great lyricist and a slightly underrated artist, I guess, as well, in kind of modern times.
Yeah, absolutely. And then again, the whole label, Phase One label, I thought that was a brilliant label.
Yeah. Well, great music on that label.
Yeah, so that particular sound, as I said, there's too many to mention things that I did love, but the Phase One sound, when they came with that sound, it's just like, wow, that blew me away.
Nice. So keeping on the whole kind of music track, it's like how did music kind of come into your life? When did it start to be something that you were interested in?
I was always interested in music because I come from a family that plays a lot of music. And in my household, especially most people from a Jamaican background, Jamaican household can relate to what I'm saying. Our houses are very eclectic when it comes to music. So we'll have our reggae, we'll have our rocksteady, we'll have our ska, we'll have rhythm and blues, we'll have country and western. We even have ballads and stuff. You could easily find a Frank Sinatra in a Jamaican home alongside a Jim Reeves, and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I've always found the country and western link to be kind of slightly not what I expected when people first told me about it years ago. The link with country and western music in Jamaica, but it's very strong, isn't it?
Very, very strong. It always has been. Very strong. My mother used to play a lot of country and western. My father was more of a rhythm and blues man. And as I said, there would be reggae in there as well. There'd be ska and rocksteady. There'd be calypso as well. Very eclectic. And that's just a standard Jamaican family settings, all these types of music. And you sing along, you dance along. I always envisioned myself from very young singing. When I was very young, I actually used to like Elvis Presley. He was my favorite. So
you were singing along with Elvis.
Oh yeah, I'm pretending I was Elvis, So I always had that desire. I've always been singing. Well, even if it's just singing for fun, I was always singing. I used to like singing in church. I was never in no choir or anything like that, but just singing normally with the congregation. I enjoyed it because we had some good songs in church. So yeah, singing. My mom's always singing. My dad's always humming something. My grandparents, well, not so much my grandfather, but my grandmother, she loves music. Her type of music. She used to like people like Louis Jordan, and Louis Prima, and those old type of music, rhythm and blues, big band jazz, swing music, all those type of music she loved, as well as her calypso and old Jamaican ballads. Like Jackie Edwards and those type of people.
And what about like when you started to kind of get more into reggae music? I mean, how was that happening, and what kind of stuff was going on?
Well, reggae was always there. No, reggae's always there. We always knew we were reggae. I mean, we're Jamaican, so we knew we were reggae. Reggae was nothing like unusual to us. It's just part of our soundtrack, growing up from day one. So, it's nothing that I discovered. It's just normal, what you grow up with, As I say, for Jamaicans, it's just normal. We didn't really discover it that way to say, like, one day, oh, wow, I heard this music, but I didn't really hear it until now. No.
And what about, like live bands or sound system? I mean, what kind of ways were you kind of, were you listening, especially when you were getting a little bit older and you were maybe out and about on your own and kind of...
Oh, well, that would sound system wise, then that would be London, really.
Okay.
Started with a sound in Tottenham called City Dread, which was owned by a Rastaman named Jabones, who also had a Rasta organization called RUZ, Rastafari Universal Zion. So, yeah, I used to follow his sound. I was part of his actual organization, so I was part of the sound also. And a young DJ, wasn't that good. I used to mainly copy other DJs, their lyrics.
Yeah, well, you got to start somewhere.
And just, yeah.
Because I'm really interested in kind of what dances were like back in the days then, when it's like, I guess, much more of a militant kind of thing. And I wonder what your recollection of dances in London when you were young and first discovering them, what they were like.
Exciting, and because of the, let's say, the political climate at the time, because we're talking 1980s we're talking about. The climate at the time, we felt very secluded from society. We felt we were under attack from society. So the sound system and the blues dances were our little space, our utopia within music, places we could voice our opinions, places we could gather without feeling isolated. And it was very tough for most black youths in London, all around the country at the time, not just London, all about the country. So the blues dances were very important to us. It was more than just going to a dance. It was a community thing. It was linking up with the friends, even here in the daily news, our daily news. It was like getting letters from Jamaica as well. So we could keep up with what's going on back home through the music and the trends, and so it was our little space. We enjoyed it. We loved it. It was I wouldn't say exclusive to us in terms of who would attend these dances, but mostly it was mostly black youths.
And you're talking about. And you're talking about like blues dances and bigger dances blues, in halls and stuff as well.
Yeah,
and
blues dances.
You used to go and check these blues dances as well.
Yeah.
So these are in people's houses.
Houses. Some of them they're just even derelict houses, empty houses. And again, as I said, it was a social. It was more than just a dance. It was a social vibration. You get to see your brethren then find out what's going on. Obviously dress up. Everybody likes to dress up. And it was an escape from what our reality was. Unemployed, harassed by police, bad housing, bad education, all of this stuff. So the dances was our relief.
And these are like inner city London, for people who are listening from other places. These are like inner city London vibes, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I would say the same thing would have probably happened to people like, say, Manchester, Birmingham, Liverpool. They were going through the similar experiences as we in London at the time.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard so many stories about what was happening in Leicester. It's a bit before my time, but it sounds like a similar kind of experience that was going on. And when did you start to kind of maybe get involved in? You said you started moving with some sounds and picking the mic up and stuff, and kind of. Well, I wonder what that was like and what that experience was like, kind of getting involved in it.
Well, first of all, being part of a sound. With the first sound, I was with RUZ, City Dread rather. I'm learning, very young, still learning. I would have been about 15 or so at the time. So still learning. But
so you're kind of school age.
Yeah. Again, school, I didn't really go to school, so it was my school. When I moved on to another sound in the later 80s called Jamaica Sound and another sound called Fine Style Sound. Now, by the time I was working with these two sounds, I was a fully fledged DJ then. And it was something, like you wore it as a pride, a badge of honor, because you could get people excited. They liked the way I used to DJ, my tone of voice, and which all of those stuff make you feel good. Plus, unlike you today, the sound was our gang. Mm-hmm. So the sound was the family, the sound was the gang, and our weapons was the music. So we didn't have gang fights or anything like that. We had sound clashes, So our concept was very different to the youth today. Sound system and music, that was our gang. And you felt proud to be in a sound. Even if you was just the box boy, you felt proud picking up those boxes and going inside. I belong to this sound. Most of the youth felt that kind of pride. Even a lot of girls, my boyfriend's in a sound. It was a big thing for us as youths.
So what were some of these sound clashes like? I was wondering if you've got any like recollections of any, because I'm very interested in these kind of original days of UK sound system.
The difference with clashes today and then, we would play like a dub plate now wouldn't necessarily be a special. It would be either a mix or a song that's not released yet. So it's like an exclusive, but you'd cut it on dub plate anyway, like Jamarcus them, he used to do a lot of them. Go to Jamaica and get music and come back and put them on dub. Special mixes, some of these tunes, they're not going to be released for maybe a few months' time, so he's got a few months to play them exclusively and things like that. So these were your dub plates, and these are what you take on Kill Sounds. The DJ now, he was the one that would verbally attack the other sound, but we were never vulgar.
Okay.
That was the difference. We were never vulgar. We used to have sound clashes, and yes, the music, the dub plates, exclusive, and then you've got the MC now, who's gonna he's the one that's gonna big up your sound and talk about your sound. So he was the living special. We didn't cut specials. The DJ was the living special.
It's a lot about the lyrics, isn't it, I guess, and kind of armed with lyrics.
Yeah, all about lyrics. And that's what's wins the night most of the time. Well, especially for the youth. The big man sound, them, I think some of them used to think that we DJ too much. Because the bigger man sound, them, they used to have times when the DJs, them don't DJ. Like you call it rent-a-tile time, lockdown time. So they're not really playing no versions for anybody to DJ on. But the youth man sound, no, everything from the beginning to the end, you best be playing versions. Because we chat all night. And
that was your kind of like schooling in performing and like flowing and kind of getting your skills up as a vocal artist, would you say?
Oh yeah, definitely. Most definitely. And I used to follow, as I said, I used to follow the DJs very closely and all the different styles. And whatever trend was going on at the time, I would be doing it. When Papa Levi them was doing the fast talking, I was doing the fast talking. When it was on the bang bang biddly biddly and all of that, I was doing all of that. When, I
okay, you've got these different trends coming all the time, and little kind of things that are in fashion at the moment.
Yeah, and I followed all of those trends. DJing was my thing. Singing, that came a lot later.
And you said about the sounds going to Jamaica to get music and stuff. And what about when, like maybe British music as well? Because there's such a big scene for reggae music in London and in Birmingham and in the 80s. And it's kind of, I was wondering, I guess that's maybe where you got involved in music, was like in British studios and... No.
Recording-wise, studio-wise, I'm right here in Jamaica.
Okay.
My first recordings, I returned to Jamaica in 1983. Yeah, I was here for just over a year at that time.
It's an amazing time for music, 1983.
Yeah, and I got to record some tracks. The backing band was mostly the Brownie brothers. Dalton Brownie, Noel Brownie, Danny Brownie. Most of them, they were the backing band. They used to back Paul Blake and Bloodfire Posse.
Okay.
And I got to do a DJ cut on the Get Flat Rhythm, which was a big hit for Paul Blake then. So I got to do that track. I done 2 tracks actually.
And do you remember where you recorded them? I'm so interested in the studios, you see.
The studio is not there anymore. In Stony Hill, called Music Mountain. Yeah, at the time it was a relatively brand new studio. At that time, yeah, Music Mountain, Stony Hill. That studio's gone, redundant, long time now. It doesn't exist anymore.
My association with Danny Red is definitely hearing your records, like in the early 90s and like Be Grateful and stuff. Obviously, this is a lot later, but it's like my first association with you is as being like a studio artist.
Okay.
So I was wondering what it was like being in the studio for you. Was it like a natural environment, or is it something you're interested in?
I loved it. I was nervous.
Nervous, yeah, I'm sure.
But at the same time, I soaked it up.
When that red light goes on.
But I enjoyed it tremendously. I really did. And I felt like I achieved something. Like, gave you a sense of self-worth, so to speak. I've recorded in a real studio. And the intention is to release these songs, and they were released. So by the time they were released, that made me even more proud.
Yeah, because once you're on the record, you've made it onto a record. That's such a big confidence thing.
But at the time, people didn't know me as Danny Red. They knew me as Danny Dread.
Okay. When did the Dread become the Red then?
Well, what really happened now, 1987, I recorded a track called Jajame. It was something I was singing on Jamaica sound system, and a brethren, Joe Love. He said, yeah, I was like that. He says, Danny, you can sing, Because remember, I wasn't a singer, only DJ.
And those first recordings, were you doing like a DJ style in the studio with those first recordings?
Yes, strictly DJ. Okay. And my DJing style at the time was, you could say, was like a hybrid Josie Wales mixed with Brigadier Jerry in a Danny Red way. Because again, I used to fashion
nice.
DJing. I used to fashion myself off of them as well. So I wasn't entirely unique. I was trying to put my personal edge on it, but basically I used to copy people.
Well, there's nothing new under the sun. I mean, we're all inspired by things.
Mm-hmm. I had this song and Joe Love said he liked it, and we went to a studio. Trying to remember the studio. It may have been Easy Street. I don't really recollect. But that was 1986 actually, and this song was released in 87. And because I was more singing now, and I thought, well, the Danny Dread's not really working because you've got a Danny Dread in Jamaica DJing, and you also had Danny Dread from long time, the selector, from Emperor Fate Sound, Addis Sound, Volcano Sound, all kind of sound. So there's too many Danny Reds on the market. Danny Dreads, rather.
It's time to bring something new then.
Yeah, and what really happened, I remember one time there was a review. John Missouri reviewed one of my songs in the Echoes, and also reviewing another Danny Dread in Jamaica, his song. And the review is like it's the same person. Because I remember John Missouri saying, well, Danny Dread's been very busy. And they said, no, that's not me, that one's me. But so I thought, something, change your name. So what I did, the way I used to spell Danny Dread, the Dread was always D-R-E-D. So when you look at it, Dread,
just drop the D.
It's D-Red, Dread. So I thought, okay, my name is Danny. My name is Daniel. Everybody calls me Danny, so just Danny Red. D-Red, Dread. So I'm still Danny Dread in some respects, because the Dread is still in there.
But now we know you as Danny Red.
Yeah. So I would say 1987, with that release, that's the beginning of Danny Red.
Okay. And how did it go from being, so Danny Red's born, you moved on to doing some singing, and then, because I guess like where I come in with my knowledge of you is like Be Grateful and stuff, when I remember buying that when it came out, and that being such a big tune, and it having this I remember the voice being particular as well. No one really had a voice like that in the records I was buying, and the lyrics as well, and that kind of calm way that you kind of speak out the lyrics was just really, I remember it being very affecting. So I was wondering how you kind of transitioned from like you're in Jamaica recording these early vocal tracks to being, because I guess Be Grateful was recorded in UK?
Yeah, in the UK. That was
with Manasseh?
With Manasseh. We recorded when Manasseh had his studio in Brixton. That was recorded, and it was actually recorded around 1990 or 91. That recording went missing.
It went missing?
Maybe got erased or something like that, but we couldn't find it. Even a few years ago, me and Manasseh were talking, and he said, oh, he would love to discover that if you could find it somewhere, because it's a totally different rhythm.
Okay.
So we redone it around, I think, 94. 94, I think we redone it, or 93. And that's the one everybody knows.
That's the one that came out on Riz Records.
Originally, it came out on a blank. Just blank.
I've got it on a blank with like a red stamp on. Yeah.
And you see, by that time now, I had interest from Columbia label.
Because that's interesting. I'd love to know how that kind of stuff happened, because it's like when those big boys come calling from the big labels, then they're obviously seeing and hearing something in you that's of interest to them. And I was wondering, like, what if there's a story around that at all?
It's not really that complicated. I have to say, who really put that together is an old friend of mine named Martin Poole. And Pool's brother. Martin's always been involved in music in some manner over the years. Helped to compile a few reggae LPs for Virgin and stuff like that. He's been involved in promotion. And he knows a lot of industry people. So initially what happened was Martin got me a nice publishing deal initially. Sorted out my publishing for me. And some other artists as well. What happened with the publishing, they gave me an advance to go and make a LP. We have no record deal. Yeah, we made a whole LP for £1,000.
They got their money.
Yeah, that's what they gave us, £1,000. And we made a LP out of that. And Martin shopped it around. And to be honest, quite a few labels wanted it. We thought maybe they don't understand reggae too much, so it might be a risk.
And it was a reggae album, or was it like more diverse? And
it was more diverse because there was hip hop elements in there. There were some tracks that are straight reggae. There were some tracks which were obviously like half reggae, half hip hop, like a reggae bass line but a hip hop drum. Yeah, but basically it was a reggae album with these different flavors in it. And it done pretty well. It done pretty well. Maybe not as good as the company would have wanted to do, but it done pretty well by my standards.
They didn't put you on top of the pops then?
No. I didn't get to the top of the pops. I think the furthest I moved up with any track was in like maybe a number 30 or a number 29 or something like that.
Well, it must have been quite a ride, because it's when the big labels are involved and they're promoting it heavily and kind of it's all happening. It's quite exciting times, I guess.
Yeah, it was very exciting. I was traveling the world. By 94, I relocated back home to Jamaica, and I was here for some time. I was here in Jamaica up until 2000. So after that album, there was like this long space of Danny Red missing in action, and nobody heard from me. So it wasn't until, 2000, returning to London in 2000, and still not doing anything. And it would have been about 2005, I started to re-record and started to release music again. So there was literally about 10 years missing.
And was that a conscious decision to move away from music at that time?
Yeah. Because I was doing other stuff before music. I'm also an artist. In terms of...
Like a visual artist?
Yeah, I paint. I sketch. I used to make arts and crafts. That's one of the things I used to do in the Rasa organization that I belonged to, was mostly arts and crafts. So I'd make things like Ludi boards, draft boards, little badges made out of coconut shell. You know, you cut them out like an Africa shape or a Caribbean island shape, a heart shape, a Lion of Judah shape, you know, Ethiopian flag shape, and you paint them. And we sell them. And in those days, they sell a lot.
Nice.
Because people loved cultural trinkets very much more in those days. It wasn't just Rastas who were buying these things. People in general, you know. So they used to sell that a lot. So I was just more concentrating on things like that and doing other work.
And what And what brought you back into the music? Because you seem to come back with real like power and force, and there was a whole string of like big tunes you released in that early 2000s time.
It was nothing special. It was just one. I just says I'm ready. I just told myself I'm ready again. There was no build up or anything like that. There was no plan. I just said, I got to get back into it.
One thing that's always interests me, and it's something I've spoken to quite a few guests about, I guess it's kind of a bit of an obsession of mine, but is like lyrics. And that's what I think of when I think of your songs, is having a strong lyrical content. I mean, do you write lyrics? Is it stuff that comes to you while you're singing? Or I wonder how you go about writing your songs, because
there's different ways. Sometimes you can just be walking on the street and singing to yourself, DJing to yourself, whatever, and you might find a nice little hook. You try to remember that. Other times, you've got a project to do and people send you a rhythm, and the vibes is just there. You just start writing. Then other times, somebody might send me a rhythm and I can't write immediately. It might take me 2-3 days. I could be listening to the track over and over again, and I just can't write anything. And then I leave it and I come back, and then all of a sudden lyrics are coming like a fountain. So I don't force it, I don't plan it. I just think about it, and if it's a bit too difficult, I can't come up with anything, I just give it a break and come back later.
And have you always been interested in words?
Yeah, definitely.
Because I think that comes across on the records.
Yeah, I like unusual words, I like unusual phrasing. I like when people say things that are not normally the way things are said, you know.
Like a clever twist on words kind of thing.
Yeah, I love all of that. I love that. Like words-wise, funny enough, people like Bob Dylan, even from I was young, I was fascinated with his writing. And, I mean, he wasn't the greatest of singer, but his writing was...
That's true.
His writing was incredible.
It's true, yeah, I'm a fan of Bob Dylan, I have to say.
You know... And so stuff like that used to fascinate me. Anything that was a bit strange, out of the norm, you know, wow, listen how he said that phrase.
Because a phrase can be such a powerful thing, can't it? If you get it right, it can really say a lot.
Yeah, it can. Sometimes just a little word can, I don't know, instead of saying things the normal way, everybody knows that, everybody says it that way. I don't need to say it that way. It's like when people ask me, say, Danny, you sing a lot of, all my songs are reality themed, but not all of them are Rasta Pacific. And some people ask me, so, okay, you don't sing as much Rasta Pacific songs as other artists may do. And because they're doing it. How many of us are going to do the same thing? How many of us are going to say the same thing in the same way? Nobody can say anything new. There's nothing new you can say, but you can make it sound interesting just by the way you say it.
Yeah, I mean, that for me is so important as any kind of artist, but especially a vocalist, to come with their own identity. And it's kind of, I think you've carved that out yourself, I would say. It's like you can't mistake a Danny Red track.
Yeah, I don't want to be an artist where it's just... Every song is Bundong Babylon and Jah, Rastafari. We have that a million times from the past, and we're still having it now, and it's still great, but we cannot just have that one subject matter. There's a lot of things that affect people's lives, and we need to talk about these things. And I tend to talk about more people's relationship, the hypocrisy of people, how they deal with each other, and those type of things. So that's more my subject key. More, I study people. I like to study people and what they do.
And I guess, would you say that that's something that was more prevalent back in the old days of blueses and dances, of people talking about what's going on rather than just kind of like the lyrics being a bit of a news thing?
Reggae is so broad. The whole history of reggae is very wide and broad. So I could never understand why some artists, when we developed this so-called, what I call roots renaissance in the 90s, everybody was on the same subject matter. And after a while, I found that very boring, because reggae is not just that alone. Reggae is very wide. Reggae is it's a vessel to carry messages.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
And you can't send the same message every day. You know, if it was a magazine and it was the same thing in the magazine every week, people would stop buying that magazine very quick. Yeah. I mean, if I'm going to sing something that is even more Rasta Pacific, I must be able to say it in a way that is not the same old rhetoric way. And if I can't do it, then I won't write that song. You know, that's just me. As I said, I like words and I like interesting words. You know, I always have. So I try to write interesting. And if people find it interesting, then I'm happy with that.
What about like Rasta? I mean, that's something that comes up quite a lot in your lyrics. I know you said you're talking about a lot of other stuff as well, but I was wondering how that came into your life. If you want to talk about that at all.
I always had admiration for the Rasta man. Never knew what he was about. In my family, don't say the word Rasta, because that's a nasty man. That's a dirty man. And
they're running out of the house.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's the type of family I come from. But I always, he looks strange. And like I said, I like strange. And he looked powerful. And, you know, there was something about the Rasta man that fascinated me. Now I'm talking about this fascination from young, from Jamaica.
So you're growing up and you're seeing Rasta people.
Yeah. But I don't know any Rasta. We don't associate with Rasta. And everybody knows that amongst Jamaicans, Rasta is not really the thing that anyone's family wants in their family. You know, some people outside of Jamaican culture, they might think, oh, well, Jamaica, yes, dreadlocks, Rasta. No way, Rasta was hated down here. And in many ways, they still are hated. But I was always fascinated. Yeah, I was always fascinated. And I remember seeing a documentary or a newsreel or something, and it was featuring about Haile Selassie, and there was a famine going on at the time. And it was a very negative documentary. And I remember my family criticizing, oh, he's an evil king, and he's this and he's that, and they're all criticizing, but all their words went over my head. Because there was one thing that fascinated me. There was a scene with him and his lion, Togo. And I thought, damn, this man's got a lion. And when I was young, I used to draw lots of pictures, and I used to just draw horses and lions. Lions and horses, that's all I used to draw. I just loved those two animals. So when I saw it, oh man, this is a real man who controls a lion. This is not a circus with the man and the chair and the whip. This lion's following him around, and he's stroked the lion, and the lion's very calm and tame.
It's a powerful image.
I thought, wow, this is a man. This ain't no ordinary man. And then I didn't even know that the Rasta man have a reverence for this man at the time. I didn't make no association. By 1979, without knowing much, I declared myself a Rasta and threw away the comb, and also lost my family dwelling. Because you can't stay there and be a Rasta.
Yes, it's not an easy road.
No. So yes, from 1979, I declare myself Rastafari, and just learning along the way, because even then, just by declaring it, I didn't have much knowledge. I had to learn bit by bit, and here I am now. This would be what?
Yes, I'm just trying to work it out. My maths, 41 years later.
41 years later, I'm still here.
Yeah. And how has it changed for you, your idea of Rastafari and kind of what you see around you? 41 years is a long time.
Mm-hmm. It's how I see it. Rasta's made a lot of progress in certain ways, but at the same time, we're still not as organized as we should be. But we've made progress in terms of some of the things, because we was very rigid and very orthodox in our thinking in the early days. So, certain things were not allowed. Like, for instance, a woman, you got your empress, she has to wear a long dress. She has to have her hair covered, you know. And it was very male dominated at the time. And we've slowly, over the years, accepted the freedom of the Empress and not have her down like, you know, she's below. Because that used to put off a lot of sisters back in the day, saying, oh, Rasta is oppressive towards women. And in many ways they were in the early days. But over the years we've learned. We now hail up.
Well, it's different times back then.
Yeah, different
as well.
times. We never used to hail up Empress Menen, His Majesty's wife, before. We're doing that now. So that's progress. There was a time where, no, you could not be any other nation but African descent to be a Rasta. And we was very adamant about that. Now, we say, no, Rasta is for all nations who embrace. Because how can you, if we're preaching truth and rights and peace and love and all of these things, then nobody has the right to say that belongs to them and deny anybody else that. No, everybody deserves the same rights of living and freedom of worship and praise and living good with each other. So yes, progress. No, all nations are Rastafari now. All nations. Everywhere you go, you'll find a Rastafari. And I'm not talking about people who just grow their dreads for fun. I'm talking genuine people who praise Rastafari. So I look at that. That's progress. The only thing is, what we're still lacking is that cohesiveness together to forward our goals. And most of our goals is African development. So we need to pool together a bit more, organize, centralize, as we always say.
Because it's a very big worldwide movement now. So like you say, I guess if those kind of powers can be harnessed, then, you know, amazing things can happen.
I mean, let's take music first, for example. The amount of Rasta-themed reggae music, dub music, roots music over the years and now, and we don't even have a solid Rasta music label company that we say, well, we control this. This, you know, we're putting out X amount of Rasta tunes by ourselves as Rasta. We've got to have our distribution, you know, already, and that's just a little simple thing, the music, and that hasn't happened yet. So, you know, I mean, Christians go to Christian studios and work with Christian producers and Christian this and Christian that. We the Rasta, with our spiritual messages, we're the only one who will record for all non-Rastas and not ourselves. There's nothing wrong with that, don't get me wrong, but it's disappointing to know that we don't have a label for ourselves as Rastas, collectively. A nice big building with a pressing plant and a warehouse for distribution, all of that stuff. We should have that.
That's it. The kind of business side is sort of, I think it's such an important part of music, because if you want to get the music out to people and the message is contained in the music, then you have to have some kind of business thing, like you say, to press and distribute and record and produce and all those things. But it's kind of, it's almost something that like people don't really talk about much, because the message and the music's it's such a focal point of everything that people don't talk enough about how is that going to get transmitted to people. And I guess I'm kind of interested in both sides of that, because I love the music, but I love to be able to get it out to people. So I think you're right in saying that, yeah, that more progress probably needs to be made in that kind of area, I guess.
When you read the words of His Majesty, we're not talking biblical now, because that's the problem. When people get too biblical, biblical is open to interpretation, and that's what's causing wars today. You can take any verse and you can twist it to your own meaning. Whereas the words of His Majesty are plain and straight. So I tend to stick to His Majesty's words. I don't really tend to follow the Bible words. I work with His Majesty. Just like Bob Marley says, give me the words of His Majesty. We don't want no devil philosophy. So I'm about His Majesty, and His Majesty's viewpoints on various subjects, they're always sound and clean. You know, and His Majesty is a Christian king. But his views and how he speaks, when he speaks of the Bible, and when he speaks of Christ, he speaks of on our part or on my part. He never says, this is the way, this is how you should be, this is what you should do in terms of religion. He was very specific in and letting people know that religion and spirituality are two different things. Religion is a habit, and people create habits and rituals around religion. Spiritual is personal, so they're not to be confused, because we recognize today that most religions, they're corrupted.
Yeah, just causing problems for people and wars and divisions and all the rest of it.
Yes. So I'm thinking all these books now, these holy books are causing problems. So I stick to his words of His Majesty. Because it doesn't matter how these so-called holy books, I can read and tell you, say, that means that. And you can easily interpret it and says, no, Dan, it does not mean that. It means this.
It all comes across in your lyrics as well, and in your songs, that kind of your, I guess, unique Danny Red kind of, individual approach to things. It's something that's kind of, I think a lot of people relate to, and, a lot of your music's been very successful, and that's because of, because you're a great vocalist, but those lyrics and the way that you kind of allow people to connect with quite sort of powerful things is, it's quite a gift to have, really.
And the funny thing about it is many times, I might write something or record something, and I think to myself, oh, Danny, you need to conform.
Yeah, to try and fit it within like how songs are normally sung, rather than dealing with something that's maybe a bit more confrontational or kind of, a bit different.
Yeah, and then I think, oh, it may be a risk. That song may be a risk. Let me do it the normal way, and then it ends up, people like it after all. Because the problem with me now is because from I was a child, as I said, I was a big Elvis Presley fan, and I used to love rock and roll music, rhythm and blues music, and even country and western music. Sometimes my vocaling, when I listen back, Danny, you're not singing rock and roll, you're singing reggae.
You can hear too much Elvis in there sometimes then.
yeah, sometimes. But then I just leave it alone, and people like it and say, well, boy, that's me. I have to accept it. That's your style, Danny.
And there's been so much reggae music recorded over such a long time that to come with like an individuality is kind of, it's a harder thing to do, because it's, you sound a bit like this artist or that artist. So, but I was wondering what's going on in Jamaica with regards to music now. I mean, I've never visited Jamaica, and I seriously plan to, but I was wondering what's going on over there with music these days.
Well, in Jamaica, music-wise, there's not really a lot going on because of the dances. There's not many dances being kept because of the strict noise abatement act out here.
So it's hard for sounds to play now, is it?
Yeah. I mean, sounds are still playing, but not as regular. Jamaica is not that colorful place it used to be in terms of street dances, open-air dances. Almost every day of the week, there will be somewhere to go. You still have places to go, but not as many as once upon a time. And the noise abatement thing, it's causing a vibes here in Jamaica. Promoters and sound systems, they're lobbying for some kind of ease. Because, I mean, if you keep a dance in the week, first of all, you got to go to your local police station and get written permission, which you have to pay for, by the way.
Just to put a dance on.
And just to keep a dance. If it's in the week, you can keep your dance up until 12 midnight. Weekends, you can keep your dance up until 2 a.m. And that's it. Over the holiday period just gone, some people got a 1 hour extension so they could go on until 3 a.m. And that was just because of the holiday period. But no, you don't have, in Kingston especially, I'm not too sure about other parishes, but here in Kingston, not that many dances at all. Like how it used to be.
We've got the same problem over here. It's like, it's such a struggle to kind of, especially now, sounds are so loud and so heavy as well. It's kind of, that creates a whole another problem of the sound travelling for miles and disturbing everybody in the whole city.
Yeah, well, they're proposing on building a complex in Port Royal. entertainment complex, and they're saying once it's completed, sounds can go in there and play as long as they want. They won't be disturbing anybody, which is good, but at the same time, it's killing communities, because a lot of communities relied on sound systems, because that would give you a chance, especially some street dances. A lot of street dances, you don't pay. The sound gets paid. They
food and drink and
by
stuff.
the amount of liquor that sells. Yeah, it's it's stuff like that. So you're living in the neighborhood. He gives you a chance to turn the front of your yard into a little spot. You might be cooking you got a big pot of soup or something. You're doing some jerk chicken, roast fish, or you're just selling even some drinks too. Or you got your cigarettes and whatever you're selling. So people would generate a little income for themselves out of these dances. So when they take the dances now to a specific spot, and that's the place, then you're killing out certain little local communities, because they need that economy to run for them. But people are, people are lobbying against it, trying to come to some compromise that, local areas can still generate some income based upon sound system.
And what kind of things can we expect from Danny Red in the future? Have you got anything in the pipeline you want to tell us about?
Oh, yeah. I can't keep up. I think I got 2 releases out on the road presently. I know. Yeah, I have. One is on a EP, Giant Happiness Records. I had a tune that came out just before the holiday period, so it's still basically new. I've got a tune that's going to should be dropping in the next few weeks or so on Indica label. Quite a few works, actually.
Nice. And there's no shortage of new Danny Red lyrics coming out.
Oh, no. And the beauty is, I'm still basically working with people I know already.
Well, one day I would love to record you for my label as well. So I've been a fan of your music for such a long time. So we should try and set it up at some point. You hear it first on this podcast.
Yeah, man, anytime you're ready. But no, music don't stop. And funny enough, it was a bit of a concern when I came back to Jamaica. It was a big
It's quite a long way from London, isn't it?
Yeah, because the thing is about it, I've worked with Jamaican producers before, and I'm not really interested in the local scene in terms of trying to push myself out there. I need to be in this studio. I need to work with this label, all that. I've already got something set up. I already have a network set up. So I'm happy just dealing with that.
Well, Danny, it's been an absolute pleasure listening to your stories, and great for you to share these kind of personal insights into things. That's what the podcast is all about, a chance for people to get to know like the artist or whoever I'm talking to. So it's great that you kind of sharing these experiences with us. That's wonderful.
Give thanks, man.
And what I'm doing at the end of each podcast is I'm asking everyone the same question, which is, I keep saying it's a bit of a daft question, but I've got the Book of Dub and I'm writing everyone's name in it. So I'm writing Danny Red. And what would you want written next to it? Something that you maybe want to be remembered by or associated with, or just a statement, or I don't know if you've got something you want to say in that kind of light.
I would just say, let your word be true, and let your word be the word, for you have nothing but the word. For when everything else is just vanity and trinkets and this and that, none of it matters but your word. So our word must be true, because it's the only possession we really truly have.
Nice. Well, coming from a lyrics man and a vocalist, that's a great sentiment to kind of to leave with us, definitely. So thanks for that.
Give thanks, man. Blessed love. See you?
Thanks again for joining me and Danny for this 9th episode of the Life in Dub podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to Life in Dub wherever you pick up your podcasts. Feel free to email me at vibronics@gmail.com with any comments and suggestions for the show. And as ever, you can visit the website lifeindub.com. I'll see you all again in 2 weeks for the next Life in Dub podcast.